Here are some questions. How easy is it for developing countries to meet the Sustainable Development Goals? Do they have the resources to meet these goals? Do they have the information they need to answer questions like this? There are 17 goals, each with their own targets and indicators. But how do they relate to existing national plans? Let's take a look at one of them. Goal 4 promotes quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all. Its first indicator measures children's reading and arithmetic skills through their first years at school. What does this look like from the point of view of planners in a country's Ministry of Education? The ministry's own administrative data can be accessed through statistics published by the National Statistical Office. In Kenya, for example, the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics publishes indicators on school enrollment and results that are disaggregated by county. So you can access the data on school enrollment and see per county how many children are enrolled in primary education. These numbers are directly connected to government spending on education. Using the government's medium-term expenditure framework, you can see which ministries fall under the education sector. Using estimates of development expenditure, you can explore past and future spending. Here, the budget shows the data on projects under the State Department for Basic Education. Developing country budgets can also be subsidized through international aid. To understand what aid Kenya could use for education, you can look at the OECD Creditor Reporting System, which provides data on what is known as official development assistance to Kenya for primary education. You can also explore IATI data, which provides access to more up-to-date information on resource flows by sector, such as primary education. But there is a problem. Even though each of these data sources deal with information on primary education, each is published to a different format. The national data is often produced in a book form. OECD Creditor Reporting System is published in Excel or SDMX, and IATI data is contained in its own purpose-built XML format. These different formats are fundamentally incompatible with each other. And so collating data from different sources requires laborious and manual manipulation. Even after these different data sources are converted to one format, you still have a problem. The way in which the sectors are defined, such as education or primary education, is different in each data source. Solving these two problems would allow you to link up the information, giving you a better understanding of the overall resource picture. For example, understanding SDG Goal 4 becomes easier when you look at its indicators, which can then be joined up with the Kenyan indicator showing primary school enrollment. This data can also be mapped to the broader sector education in the MTEF, and the ministries this classification includes are exactly the same as those used in the Kenyan government's budgetary expenditure records. IATI data on primary education is more specific again, but can be mapped to the Ministry of Education, and the sector primary education in IATI is exactly the same as that reported by the OECD Creditor Reporting System. Lastly, the education data in the Creditor Reporting System can be mapped back to the Goal 4, which aims to see quality education for all. Making such connections allows us to join the dots and create a map of the information needed for assessment at a country level. Collating information from different sources and from different formats in a single dataset empowers you to access what resources are available to meet the SDGs. You can cross-map SDG targets to IATI and OECD sector codes, to UN classification of functions of governments, to the medium-term expenditure framework, and to the codes used in the national budget. You can now compare data from both national and international sources on current spending, both on and off budget. And finally, you can align that information with future government spending plans and donor commitments. Making data interoperable in this way gives you a better, holistic picture of all the moving data elements that go towards meeting and monitoring the SDGs, turning a complex data problem into a joined-up, information-driven solution for decision makers. Joined-up data standards, unlocking the power of data for sustainable development.